shape, and the rate of delivery of the various medicines which have to be delivered. This will make the life of patients much easier and improve compliance to treatment. Though the prospectus of personalized medicines using 3D printers is quite exciting, but there are a lot of other hurdles which I think the regulations have to take care, and it may require a lot of trials before it can actually come into the market. But I think this is something which might come in the near future. 3D printing would, I think, someday actually revolutionize the surgical instruments, and probably it might replace steel, probably. So 3D printing tools are not only economic, but they also have low risk of infections because they're usually disposables and of single use. So this is something which I got on net where people have actually tried to print instruments using a 3D printer and actually use it in surgical procedures. But the future applications would actually, it would be like installing these printers at various combat zones or maybe even in space. And these environments would actually have a 3D printer which would have access to the various digital files, and whenever you actually need them, you print it. If you don't need, you just don't have to print it. So having this on board would mean that the instruments could be produced like as needed basis. You don't have to carry all the things onto these difficult places. I think the other speakers have already showed a few things about these processes, how 3D printed processes are printed. But I would like to touch upon a few points regarding this. One is what we see is in kids and teens who usually lose their limb, there's a huge financial burden on the parents. That's because these children, they grow up very fast, and they need to change their prosthetics every year or maybe every few months. And to have these artificial limbs getting changed so fast, it's quite expensive. So with 3D printing, as the child goes, all you need to do is to enlarge the size of the print, put back the machinery, the circuits basically into the same thing, and then you get a new set of processes. So this here is one of the most advanced 3D printed processes which has been designed, not by me, it's a company in the US. So it's designed, basically, it is customized to the individual skin tone, weight, shape, and the size. So once they receive the 3D scan from the patient, they actually build it up as per the opposite limb. So I think that's the. So the first they scan the normal limb of the patient using a 3D scanner and then create a mirror image of the same. So once the structure is ready, they actually incorporate all the motors, the touch sensors, and all the electronics which help in the movement of these fingers. So it also has artificial intelligence to adapt to its use. And the best part is the company claims that this can be printed at almost one-tenth the cost of these conventional prosthetics. So here's a fully 3D printed hot wall which is made of silicon additive manufacturing. So the process basically it starts with spraying of soft silicon onto the wall form, and multiple leaflets are created using wall leaflets, and the nozzle sprays it onto that basic structure. So the fibers of the 3D printed onto the leaflets to reinforce them, and the outer surface is also reinforced and built until it matches the shape of the aorta. And finally, it's tested before it's actually implanted. Probably it might take a few more years to actually come into the market, and this is how it would look. That's completely 3D printed as per the patient's size. So custom-made medical devices are actually exempt under FDA regulations as of now. So if a doctor actually creates or modifies a device to meet the clinical needs of a specific patient's anatomy, it is acceptable as per the FDA laws. It might change in the future, we're not sure. So this leaves the door wide open for us to have 3D printed devices that are customized for each patient. As we all know, eating nutritious food with ample proteins during the healing period is very important. So getting all the necessary nutrients into a single dish is quite difficult. And balancing the calorie and salt intake are quite essential in diabetic and renal patients. So it's not far when we can actually have these food printers in the hospitals next to the patient, which can actually print the delicious food as per the calorie requirement or the salt intake or whatever exact nutrients which are required to the patient. Bioprinting. Okay, so this is something which is quite close to my heart. And tissue or organ failure due to aging, diseases, accidents, and birth defects is a critical problem. And organ transplants, surgery, and follow-up is quite expensive. An additional problem to this organ transplantation is often the difficult task of finding the right match or the right donor whose organs are actually accepted by the body. And the current treatment of organ failures relies mostly on organ transplants from the living or the deceased donors. And however, there is a chronic shortage of organs for transplant. So these are the current statistics in India, which says that about 5 lakh people in India die every year because of non-availability of organs. About 2 lakhs await kidney transplant. Only about 15,000 actually manage to get one, and over 1 lakh people with liver disease, only about 1,000 actually get one, and the scenario is quite much worse globally. So does 3D printing have an answer? So in the early 21st century, the researchers actually discovered that the nozzles of the inkjet printers could actually spray out living cells without damaging them. However, they needed an environment to actually stay alive. So nowadays we have these microtubules, which are actually enriched with vitamins, proteins, and various micronutrients, which can actually provide this environment for these cells to survive. So in 2014, a company called Organova actually announced the first successful printing of a liver tissue, and it functioned almost like a real liver. And later they actually even printed a functional kidney and also collaborated with L'Oreal for a 3D printed biosynthetic skin. So the future bioprinters would be actually loaded with cartridges filled with living cells. These would actually then output from the bioprint head that will move in various directions, up, down, left and right, and this would actually produce a 3D object. And these 3D bioprinters would actually print different types of cells onto a dissolvable gel to support the cells during printing. So the organs will then be built up in multiple layers, and within the several hours, probably in future, you may have a kidney or a liver ready for transplant, and that will matching the patient's cells. Here you can actually see a real bioprinter how it's working, where the cells and the scaffold are combined. I mean, they combine and they come out as a thin layer of human hair, and these fibers are laid down layer by layer to build a three-dimensional tube. In this case, it's a trachea or windpipe, we call it. And it can even be made like a lattice-like membrane, which can potentially be a biological skin. And the structure is then placed in an incubator, which recreates the environment of the human body and keeps it alive until it's actually transferred to the patient. One of the latest one here, where they have 3D printed a lung mimicking air sac. So it's actually able to pump air into the airways, mimic the blood flow around it, and it's smaller than a penny. So in this, the deoxygenated blood actually is pumped around the air sac, the airway is ventilated with oxygen, and at the other end you get the oxygenated blood. And I think this would be the building blocks for a future 3D printed lung. Another breakthrough which was actually recently reported was in the field of fertility, where ovaries were 3D printed by a group of scientists in the Northwestern University, Illinois, and USA. This was actually a bioprosthetic ovary for a mice. So they developed a method to 3D print a gelatin scaffold that houses the immature eggs, which are then placed on a living body, and it functions just like an ovary. So when they actually place when they placed it in the mouse's ovaries with the 3D printed ones, the mouse were not only able to ovulate, but also gives rise to healthy pups. It is well known that skin grafts are difficult to obtain and provide terrible aesthetics, and since a long time, burns patients have little options to treat the burned skin. So 3D printing technology can be, in future, may be able to provide a solution where what's shown in this video is basically the researchers have come up with a technique of layer by layer creating the human skin, where a laser usually it scans the extent and the depth of the burn injury, and then the skin cells are printed layer by layer till it reaches the normal level. The clinical trials on pigs and mice have already been done, and it's shown that it almost helps in healing the tissues are almost 3 times faster. At the University of Minnesota, the researchers have actually created a 3D printed device that might someday help patients with spinal cord injuries. So basically what they've done is they have a scaffold made of silicon cells. Basically it's a platform with all the specialized cells which are 3D printed onto it. And then it is surgically implanted into the injured area of the patient's cord. And this serves as a bridge for the living nerve cells to bridge the gap in the injury to the spinal cord. It looks too futuristic, but probably might happen in the future. So if something like this happens, probably you would relieve the patient's pain and even restore bowel and bladder function in spinal injuries. So at Stanford, actually the researchers have even come up with a 3D printed tool which can actually, it's a cardiac mapping catheter. So basically the cardiac patients undergo a scan to find out the actual structure of the heart in the various dimensions, and they come up with a framework with all the sensors on the surface. And once you implant this, the catheter can actually transmit the data to the computer to generate recordings of the electrical activity of the patterns. And this would produce a heat map, as you see in the lower part. And this will help us to identify the areas of the heart which actually need the treatment rather than trying to guess where exactly it might be wrong. So at New York University, researchers have actually used 3D printers to create chemically coated ceramic implants which can actually guide the regrowth of all the missing bones. And these steadily dissolving implants have already been used in lab animals, and scientists claim that this novel ceramics can actually closely resemble the human bone, and you can get it in various shapes and structures. So who knows? Probably in future we may have robotic 3D printers which can sorry, I think having some problem playing the video. So maybe we'll have some robotic 3D printers, something like this, with every year, which would actually print human tissue right onto the injured area. So this would take away the need for complex surgeries to restore wound cover and prolong hospital admissions. Or maybe even we may have minimal access devices, something like this, which would print the entire 3D printed organ within the body without actually opening it. Or maybe we would even have 3D printers which would restore the entire facial injury layer by layer, adding the various tissues onto it. Or maybe even enable people to change their facial appearance to look like their favorite stars. Well, it's just a possibility. And 3D printing is a revolutionary technology, and that will make medical care much better and faster and more personalized. But what we need what we actually need is more medical professionals to start exploring and experimenting with these new technologies, because many things that we thought wouldn't be possible are becoming possible now. So I think we are moving towards a world where if you can imagine things, you can actually print it. So we need to start imagining. Thank you.